good morning, everyone here at Kimberly Elementary School and those of you out there in YouTube land. My name is Joseph Sally. I'm the principal here at Kimberly Elementary School, and I want to welcome you to our monthly Principals Chat and Chew. It is November, a week before Election Day. Hopefully everyone will get out there and vote with your conscience. That's all I can say about that. So we have a wonderful program here for you today, lots of information that we're going to provide. We call this a Principals Chat and Chew, but it's really Principals Chat and Chew / Parent Academy, because it's an opportunity for our parents to hopefully get something from this time with us outside of just being able to have some FaceTime with me and be able to get some questions answered. I'm going to introduce and talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing today, and then at the end I will come back and answer any questions that you have, either about any of the presentations that take place, or about any issues or concerns that you may have around what's happening here at Kimberly Elementary School. So that's the purpose of these meetings today. So as we think about what we're going to be doing today, we're going to give you a signature program update. We're going to get some care team updates. We're going to have a financial literacy presentation. We're going to also, actually I think we have two. Do we have two financial literacy presentations? Yes, we have two financial literacy presentations. Then we're going to go into an academic portion where one of my math specialists is going to be leading you in a conversation around number sense and what the importance of that is. And then we're going to talk about some ways in which you can stay engaged with your child's learning, list some upcoming events, and then of course I'll come back at the end to be able to answer any questions that you may have. So at this time, I think I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful parent liaison, Miss Denise Turner-Mills, who's going to come up and begin our presentation.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Thank you, parents that are here, and our special guest speakers. We thank you so much for joining us for this Principals Chat and Chew. I am Denise Turner-Mills, the parent liaison for Kimberly Elementary School, and I am enjoying my first year here working with our parents. My direction here is to make sure that you receive communication. So this is the face that sends you all of the remind notices, the newsletters. The remind notices I know are coming out almost every day, because I want to make sure that you get the information, you're aware of what's happening at the school, and help you to understand that you're a part of the school. So please, 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 I'm here to assist you. I'm here for referrals. I'm here to just have an ear if you just need to come in and talk. I'm here because I'm the bridge between the parents and the school. So please contact me if you have any information or issues that you need to speak on. I just want to hit on a few things this morning about our school parent compact, and just to go over a few things that as parents you agreed to do, or you're committed to doing in helping your scholar to succeed. That is to ensure that your babies are reading at least 30 minutes a day at home, participate in math, literacy, and science projects, visit the school resource center. Our school resource center is not only in my office, but it's also in the lobby of the school, so there's valuable information there as well. Excuse me, and communicate regularly with your child's teacher. You don't want to wait until you get those progress reports or your report card and then you're surprised. You want to make sure that you're checking in with them weekly or every other week, sending them information on Class Dojo or whatever it is your method of communication is with your child's teacher. Make sure that you're doing that, because you don't want to be surprised in the end. Again, thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you at the next Principals Chat and Chew. I forgot I was doing double duty today. So this is our IB mission and vision statement, and we go over these every month just to make sure that our parents understand our mission and our vision. The IB mission, the International Baccalaureate, aims to develop knowledgeable and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. IB program encourages students across the world to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners who understand that other people and their differences can also be right. Our Kimberly mission and vision. learning environment that will foster a growth-set mindset and develop students' creativity through innovation within a global society. Our vision, all students will thrive in a choice-filled community that increases opportunity through hope, belief, and success in action.
And I'll talk about this slide. So, she went over the IB mission and vision and then our school mission and vision because, as you all know, Kimberly is working toward becoming an IB certified school. And so there's some steps that we're taking right now to make that happen. Part of it is our integration of the IB learner profiles, or the attributes of a student, into our everyday life. Specifically as it relates to our student of the month and making sure that kids are identifying with some of those IB traits of caring, thinker, et cetera, to ensure that they are exemplifying what it means to be a well-rounded student. The other part of what we're doing is around inquiry. And so when I talk about inquiry, it's from the aspect of kids being able to ask and answer questions, trying to really create thought-provoking opportunities in classrooms where kids will be challenged to reevaluate their own thoughts, and sometimes even the thoughts that happen in their homes, okay? Because, you know, as you know, in school, this is the place where you really kind of cultivate who you're gonna be as an individual, as an adult. You kind of develop that right here at school. You know, of course, obviously with the partnership of our parents, and not, you know, going against anything that our parents say either, as long as it means keeping your hands to yourself. And I say that because, and I jokingly say that because sometimes our parents will say, you know, if somebody hits you, hit them back. Well, we say at the school, no, if somebody hits you, you tell an adult. And then, you know, the only time that you ever, you know, would hit back is if you're cornered in the bathroom and there's nobody to get you and you've screamed and, you know, nobody can help you. That's the only time. Other than that, there's always an adult you can get. So those are that's probably one of the main things that is probably the antithesis of what a parent would say, because it's even different than what I say to my kids. But nonetheless, this is where we are. So we became a candidate school. December 2021 is when we actually submitted our application to become a candidate school. Our authorization application will go in through the spring of 2024. We'll actually have our first kind of preliminary visit next fall to really kind of look at what things are in place within our building to help us through this IB journey, to then see where we need to kind of strengthen in some of our work. What I've found is the good thing about being an elementary school and the PYP program, or the primary years program, is that there isn't a different curriculum that you're teaching. As a primary years program, the curriculum doesn't change until kids get to high school. But what I found is that a lot of what we do is already in place. You know, it's just really more around utilizing different vocabulary as we talk about what it means to be an IB student. It's really about vocabulary more so than it is about any specific actions that would happen. Now, some of that also is just, you know, this year and I think it might be coming up later, but I'll just kind of say it now. This year we actually we celebrated our Hispanic students this year for the first time. I don't think that we've done a presentation the way in which we did this year. And if you'll see in the back of the room, there are a bunch of different poster boards illustrating different Spanish-speaking countries around the world. And so we're trying to make sure that we are incorporating and acknowledging all the vast diversity that exists right here in our school. You know, sometimes we think about our school as just being, you know, 100% African American. Well, it's not. We have 12 Hispanic students that attend our school. And then even within our black students that are here, not everybody is Black American. You know, so we have other nationalities of black folk that are here as well. So our goal is to identify all of the different cultures that exist within our building, so that way we can acknowledge and recognize, you know, the diversity that exists here at Kimberly Elementary School. Okay.
At this time, I would like to have Ms. Eileen McCullum and Ms. Gwen Hodges to come forward. They're going to speak on FLIES. It is a program through Cascade United Methodist Church. They've been partnered with Kimberly Elementary for quite a while, and they have students already a part of the program, so they would like to speak on to you about that program today. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what? I always thought that when I got to be, I thought 25 was the magic age for me. I thought when I got to be 25, I'd have the perfect husband, I would be rich, you know, I would just have it all. And even though that was in my mind, I knew somewhere that was not really true. But I remember, and I'll be brief, but I remember growing up, and we would eat dinner when my daddy came home. My mother and father sat at each end of the table, and me and my sister on this side, and my grandmother lived with us and my brother. And my daddy would say the grace, and then he would look at me, because I was the oldest, and he would say, keep good credit, because you might want to buy something one day. Save your money. And so that just kind of went over my head. Didn't think much about it. And got ready to go to college, and I would say that my mother let me come to Atlanta to live with my grandmother's sisters to save money to go to school, or to have some pocket money. And I got to the city, which we were used to shopping here, and I would get paid. I made $60 a week. That was a lot of money back then, over 50 years ago. And what happened was, I had to go through downtown to get my job, to get to the job. And and that money would just burn a hole in my pocket. So on my day off during the week, I would spend all day downtown. And when I got home, I would have $10 left for that money. And when July came and my mother asked me, well, how much have you saved? And I was so ashamed, because some weeks I would only save $5, some 10. But my point is, eventually I did learn that in order to have anything, you must save something. I don't care what you make. There are people who have made a little bit of nothing, but yet and still, they end up having a lot of money, being able to pay off their homes, pay for a car, or whatever. Our point is, with this project, is to teach children financial literacy, to teach them not only just to save a little bit. You don't have to save everything, but if you save something and don't touch it and let it grow, then you can put it somewhere else and it will grow more and more. So that's the whole gist of our program, is to teach children how you make your money work for you. We try to teach them, and I want you to tell that part, Gwen, just to teach them that there is a place where you can put your money and it will grow for you. It can pay for your education, it can buy your home, it can set you up. And a lot of things we purchase, we don't even need. It just looks good. That's how it looked to me back in the 60s. It just looked really good, and I wanted it. But did not have the background that we're trying to teach these children how to actually make your money work for you. And my partner is going to tell you about the whole program.
Good morning. Good to see you all. I know I've been in and out of the school bringing applications for different things. I am Gwen Hodges. I'm retired from the Atlanta Public Schools, and I worked all over the city. I was the school counselor. One time I had 3 schools, one time I had 2 schools. And there was a need for parents and children during that time. And no matter what school I was in, I would call Aline at Cascade, and we are members of Cascade. I would call Aline, and she didn't tell enough about herself. She works in a ministry that she worked for many, many years, and she has connections all over the city with feeding the homeless downtown and just, I mean, she would have to tell you about all her programs, and she's still connected, retired, how many years? You don't want to tell?
2 months.
She just retired recently, but phenomenal, just connected through United Way and people calling and doing all kinds of services. So I was so busy working, but I told her when I retired, I was going to work with her closely, because wherever I was, no matter what school, what side of town, I would call Cascade and Eileen would meet my need for a family or for a child, and it was just phenomenal. So she has been there so long and so well connected, she understands the needs. So as she told her story, you can see she understands how important it is for financial services for our children to understand, because she served the community and she saw the needs of the community. So that's why I'm working with her, and I have enjoyed the program myself. I guess we should explain that we recruit online. We're going to give you a flyer, and it's for children we're starting in third grade.
Yes.
And the third graders here at Kimberly are now in middle school.
Right.
That's how long Eileen has had that connection. I think they would come to the school early in the morning
Right.
with Delta Community Credit Bank, right?
Right.
And they would do,
We would have a class in this very room, and then COVID hit. So we had to go online, and that's why our program is now online on Saturday mornings. And since the children who have graduated from elementary school over into middle school, we have 2 programs, because they didn't want to stop learning. They really wanted to know more about how to save. And if I can
continue.
interrupt you, one of the perks of this, of your child being in this project, is that every Christmas, we put $100 in a savings account for them. And of course, you can't touch that money, but we want to show them that your money can grow. And now some people have $500, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if you never touch that money and the interest increases, then you will have money if you do want to go to college. And that is our goal, is that the money will not be touched until they get to be 18.
So Kimberly, give yourselves a hand for us being here this long, and the children are in middle school. And because they're in middle school, we have to recruit more children. So we're here to recruit grades third?
Yeah, just third.
Third
Just
grade
third.
and up.
Okay, okay.
And we have a flyer, and on the flyer is our leader's email address. So if you want to email her for your child to get in the program. The classes are Saturday morning now. We have to switch over to Saturday this year. And I'm sorry, I don't know the time. Do you know the
It's
time?
on the flyer.
Okay.
The time is going to be at 11:30. We used to have it in the evening, well, not in the evening, but the children would leave at the end of the day, and some of them would still be here at Kimberly, but they would go online. And I started after COVID actively, but they would go online. But now when they're home, they just log on, and we ask parents to be nearby when they do log on. Sometimes the television's too loud, sometimes the dog is barking, we can't hear, but we want the parents to understand what's going on. And we also have parent meetings online. So you get to meet the Delta Community Credit Union staff. They are the teachers, the bankers are the teachers. And the most interesting thing I have learned is they're now teaching the children about Bitcoins. Do you all understand Bitcoins? Okay, so I was the same way. So they're teaching them how the Bitcoin works, which shows you they brought them from understanding a deposit in the bank and how money works, and now they're already on Bitcoins. Can you imagine? And they're just, how old are you in middle school?
About 12.
12. So they know more, they have more knowledge, of course, in terms of technology and now Bitcoins than we do. So I want to commend Kimberly for that support and hanging in there, because the church is really committed to the children and the program. So what happens is when they log on, there's a banker, I call them bankers, from Delta Community Credit Union, and she is actually teaching them. And there are other people online, and I joined as well as Aline. We are basically listeners and learning as well, I am. But she's actually teaching them about money. They get a chance to put their math skills into use. They're doing how many apples? No, a good one for an example is if you have this amount of money, how much do you bank and how much do you spend? And what's the difference between a need and a want? A need and a want. So if you have $50 and the children will see pictures, are you gonna buy this? Are you gonna buy this? Are you gonna buy your school supplies? Are you gonna buy snacks? So they have a chance to discuss that and ask any questions they want, and they get points along the way. And those points also represent money in the bank. So we give them an understanding that your money is in the bank, and you take some of that, it can be invested, but it's growing, you're getting a certain interest while it's there. So our hope is by the time they get to be 18 years old, they'll use that money for college, or they'll use that money for starting a business, or going to, let's say they want to go to Atlanta Tech and go for a short time and then start a business or start a career that way. But that is the focus of our interest in getting them to understand as young people how they can become rich. They'll be rich way before we even think about, being rich. But it's very important for them to log on and participate because it's a lifelong skill and understanding about money. So do you have questions for us? Yes.
So even though these skills still starting at third, I have also got, a 2-year-old, so I start, like, get her a baby.
Let the children sit and listen, yes.
I have
Yes,
a 2-year-old baby girl, so I wanna get her, I wanna
Yes.
start putting money for her.
Yes, let them at least listen.
Yeah.
Because the money goes with the third graders and into their account. But let the family listen, and we want you all to listen because just like I was telling you, I'm learning about Bitcoins. You need to learn about investments as well. So it's very important for the family to be involved and understand what we're doing with your children. And then it's real important for you all to log on for family meetings. And they will give you that information in terms of when the meetings take place. So are there other questions? If not, thank you for,
I'm sorry, in order to move forward, we need to contact
yes, that's
her.
that's her email address. And then someone will be also calling you. You'll have a contact with someone who will be calling and confirming that you're coming on. If your child's absent, just like at school, someone's going to call and see if they're well and why they didn't log on or what's going on. And if they move or whatever and have situations, we understand that and we'll work with them. Any other questions? Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you for your long support.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Eileen, thank you. Always been a part of what we do here at Kimberly Elementary School. All right, our next presenter is Miss Moraine. I'm gonna pull up her slides.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone this morning? Thank you, ladies, for that information. That was awesome. I'm just going to follow up on what you said because it was awesome information. And our children are our future, right? So we want to make sure that they have all of the information that they need so they can succeed in this world, right? But what about us? We want to succeed too. And that's why I'm here. My name is Sharita Moraine. Again, I'm a financial educator, but my most important role is mom. I am mother to a first-year-old, the most awesomest first-year-old in the world. I'm biased, but I came across financial education. I'm a proud graduate of Tuskegee University, and my degree is in marketing. And I learned the hard way that I didn't know about money. I got laid off a week before a milestone birthday, and honestly, it sent my world into a tailspin. And I thought, hey, you got a degree. You should know what to do with your money. But I distinctly remember before graduation thinking, well, nobody told me how I'm supposed to get rich. You know, where was that class? I remember not getting that class. So after, you know, getting laid off and realizing I don't have an emergency fund, you know, things are getting rough. How are we gonna survive? I have a little kid. What am I gonna do? I thought to myself, hey, I gotta figure this out. I don't know what I don't know about money. And that sent me on this lovely trail that I'm on now to financial education. And I wanna be able to share it with everyone I know because the information is so important. So I work with a company that teaches people how money works. And we teach from the best-selling personal finance book in the country called How Money Works. Don't be a sucker. And my 6-year-old refers to it as a sucker book. So although he doesn't know exactly what I do every day, he is paying attention. And so that's why I think the program that these two ladies mentioned is so important, because we want to start our kids early because they are paying attention to what we're doing. So today we're going to talk about the rules of money, all right? This says 3, but there's actually 5 that we're going to focus on. The first 2 are by Warren Buffett. Everybody familiar with Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett says there are 2 rules to money. First rule of money, never lose it. Good rule, right? Second rule of money, don't forget the first rule. All right, so he's a smart man. That's easy for him to say. But I want to break it down and give you some practical information about your money, because financial literacy isn't taught in schools. And most likely, you know, your parents, your coworkers, they don't know the information either. And so I want to be able to share it with everyone, all right? So let's get into the 3 rules of money. All right, so the first rule is compound interest. And compound interest is just the growth potential for money over time, all right? So we're going to talk about the rule of 72. Anyone ever heard of the rule of 72? All right. So the rule of 72 basically tells you how much time it takes for your money to double. And the rule of 72 is so important because you're participating in it every day, whether you realize it or not. How is that? I'm going to show you. 72 divided by the interest rate is going to give you the time for your money, if you'll go into the next slide. So for example, if you divide 72 divided by 1, it's going to take your money 72 years to double. Easy enough, right? So at 1%, 72 years, 2%, 3%, it will take 24 years for your money to double, so on and so forth. 12%, and at 12%, 6 years for your money to double. So as you can see, the higher your interest rate, the shorter time it takes for your money to double. Next slide. Okay, so let's take for an example one of our characters in the book. And as you can see, this is a pretty thin book, easy to read. It's written for a 14-year-old, but any child from 8 to 80 can read this book. It gives pictures and graphs, and it's in Spanish and English as well. And I'm going to make sure that everyone has a copy of this book before you leave. All right? So I want to share with you a character from the book, Zoe. Zoe's 19, and she just inherited $10,000. Lucky Zoe, right? So Zoe wants to make that money grow. And we can see that at 1%, at a retirement age, she's only got $16,000. She needs a higher percentage rate, doesn't she? At 3%, at retirement age, she's got $40,000. 6%, 160, 4 doubles. 9%, look at that. From her $10,000 investment, she's at $640,000. I just want that to sink in for a minute. From a $10,000 investment at 19. 12%, 8 doubles, $2.5 million. Who can use $2.5 million at retirement age? Right? So when these ladies talk about teaching our children young what to do with their money, getting them in the right mindset, of how to save. How many of you are happy with how much you've saved since your first job? Not many of us. That's great if you are. I want every hand to be able to go up. In your classes, I want every hand to be able to go up. When they start making that first dollar, that first job, they're gonna take that little $160 paycheck, whatever it is that they're so proud of, and you want them to be ingrained to say, I need to put 20 of this aside, or I need to put 80 of this aside, because I'm living at home with mom and daddy. I don't have any bills. What do I need to spend all of it for? And see, youngsters think, oh, I'm young, I'll live forever. But things happen, right? So we want them to be prepared. So when they're our age, they can make a decision about whether or not they even want to work. That's creating generational wealth, and that's what we as parents can do for our kids now. All right, so 72 years at 1%. So there's almost $10 trillion in money market, passbook, and savings accounts. Some of that money's yours, all right? This is actual examples of the savings accounts for some of the larger banks out there. Do you see that all of these are less than 1%? So when you go to the bank, and there's a bowl of candy there, anybody know what kind of candy it is?
Dum-dum.
Dum-dums. They're warning you. They telling you from the start, this isn't where you should be putting your money. It's not going to grow, not the way you want it to. Incidentally, the same company that makes Dum-Dums also makes Smarties. So you do have a choice. All right, next slide. Okay, so what about 0.09%? How long is it gonna take your money to double? 800 years, people. 800 years. And if you saw, most of those accounts had, or most of those savings account were at 0.01. So they weren't even at 0.09. So it's gonna take even longer for your money to grow, all right? But let's think about your credit card. 17% average rate. The banks, their money is growing or is doubling in 4.2 years. So that's why the rule of 72 is so important, because again, you're participating in it whether you realize it or not. Why don't participate it on the side where your money is growing for you, all right? Next slide. All right, so number 2, there are 3 options for your money. So the first one is fixed. So this is your savings account. It's not growing that much, right? The second one is an example of the stock market. This is your 401k. It's it's a little shaky, goes up and down. You're gonna win some money, but you're gonna lose some money too, right? And this is an example of an indexed account. An indexed account mimics the market. So when your stock market goes up, your indexed account goes up. When the stock market goes down, your indexed account locks in the savings at those steps, so you don't lose money. All right? So how is your money taxed? So there are 3 ways your money's taxed. Tax now, tax later, and tax advantage. So tax now, that's again your savings account, stocks, mutual funds. You're gonna pay for that money up front. Tax later, that's your 401 point K, 401 point B. Those are actually tax terms, which means that anything starting with a 4 is for the government. The government's gonna get their money before you get yours, right? Tax later, because you see this, you got this 401k, it's growing, it looks good, but before you can get any of it, it's gonna get taxed, right? The government's gonna take their portion before you get yours. But what about a tax advantage account? That's your Roth IRAs, your cash accumulation insurance policies, college savings plans. These allow you to accumulate money over time, your own money, to become your own bank, to be able to withdraw that money at any time, well, not at any time, but at times where you need it, as in going to college, as in starting a business, as in whatever it is that you want to do because it's your money, right? And it's tax advantage. You're not going to pay taxes on it. It was already qualified. It was already taxed from the beginning because this is the money that you make every day. This is how you funded this account. So those are things to think about, things that we aren't familiar with on how our money works. Next slide, please. All right, so those are the 3 rules of money. Any questions? Please. All right, so again, I want to make sure that everybody gets a copy of this book. It's an easy read. If you would like more information, because we actually hold classes and they are free. There's a 5-part series that will be starting next week. If you want more information, fill this out. Your kids are supposed to be reading 30 minutes a night. Read this together. And even if they don't understand it, they'll look at the pictures and you can explain it to a way, and they'll be familiar with the information. So when they attend this program here, they're ahead of the game. We want to make first generation millionaires, and we can, one step at a time. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, it's funny, I was sitting here thinking about my first job at 15, and though I thought about how I spent my money, I didn't think about how I saved my money. Like, I was that kid that literally had spreadsheets writing down, you know, every penny that I spent, and would think about before I spent money how many hours I had to work in order to be able to pay for whatever it is that I wanted. So I think I knew the value of money, but didn't fully understand the whole concept of saving money. So what I'm doing differently now with my own children is, even now as they earn an allowance, automatically, even part of their allowance goes into savings automatically. And so what I've seen with my kids is that they are also starting to understand that value of the dollar. You know, still haven't necessarily, you know, I think they still feel like I'm just making them save money. But they do understand the value of a dollar, because even my daughter, 2 weeks ago, a couple of her friends, they wanted to go to the movies. And we generally, when we go to the movies, we generally go during the matinee hours where it's cheaper to go to the movies. You know, because I actually make my kids pay for their own movie from their allowance, because my feeling is, if I'm giving you an allowance, why am I paying for everything you do? Because I might as well just not give you an allowance, right? So their allowance pays for them to go to the movie. So, right, because otherwise I'll give you money twice. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. So, but when her friends wanted her to go to the movies, they wanted her to go to a different movie theater where you sit down and, you know, can sit and eat and stuff like that there. And I think the ticket was like $20. And my daughter was like, wait a minute, when I go to the movies with my daddy, I only pay $9. You know, why am I gonna pay $20 to go to the movie? And she said, her friend said, Zion, you got money. I saw how much money is in your bank account. That's the first mistake she made, showing people how much money she got in her bank. But anyway, she said, well, it doesn't matter how much money I have in my bank account. I'm not trying to spend it on a $20 movie when I can see it for $9. Or I can just turn on Peacock and see it for free. You know, so anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought about that, and I was thinking about, man, if I had saved money for my first job at 15, yeah, I probably wouldn't be standing right here in front of you right now. I mean, right, it is a good thing, right. It is a good thing that I am, but yeah, we're right. But I may have made a difference. Denise, back to you. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, everyone. At this time, we're going to bring Ms. Peoples up, and she's going to speak to us about coping skills. In this day and time, we do need coping skills.
Hi everybody, my name is Tasha Peoples. To tell you about myself, I am actually an advocate for children and teenagers about child sexual abuse. And I've been fighting for children, and I'm also a survivor as well. So based off my experience, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse as well. So how I cope with my feelings is based off my experience. Just to tell you a little bit more. Sorry. Just to tell you a little bit and everything, the reason why I use this coping skills and everything, because I dealt with it when I was like 6 years old. 6 all the way to 17. I was, to be honest, I was raped and molested when I was 6 years old by my own biological father. So I dealt with it for years and years. Depression, a lot of people, I dealt with family that, didn't believe, in me. So how I cope and everything, I find ways to cope. I get help. Now, I wish I had the help when I was young, but it was too late. I don't want this same mistakes from kids. So I'm really, really, really gonna be very compassionate when I'm gonna tell you how I cope and find ways to cope. I did hobbies, like something that keep my mind going. I love to sing. So instead of me dwell in depression, I sing. I also have help counseling, coping. Please, if any children that go through the same thing, how they cope, get them help. Therapy and counseling is the way to go. Because if they never get counseling as an adult, there's a lot of adults that went through the same thing as me and didn't came out right. So I say that to my wholeheartedly, get them coping skills, counseling, therapists, talk to them constantly and tell them what's going on. Even be, if you have to sit one-on-one and say, hey, have anybody touched you? Have anybody did this to you? And I tell this, because there's a lot of kids that go through so much as a child that we don't even know. We never even see the signs. And I wish that I had a teacher came to me and say, hey, is something going on at home? Like something is really going on? I never had that. So I'm learning it now, and I don't want the same mistakes as children. And we in the elementary school, and there's a lot of kids, not just here or any other kids, is going through it silently. So I recommend is how we do the coping skills is to talk to kids personally. If anything goes wrong, even for parents, know what's going on in your child. So sorry I'm a little bit all over the place, but this is from the bottom of my heart, and this is the reason why I kind of fight for children. My business and stuff, and I go to events and talk about how to know the signs, how to know what's going on in your child's life. I created a course to teach people the signs of child sexual abuse based off my experience. I've been experienced for 17 years. There are a lot of parents that do know, but they don't know how to. And there are some people that they sense it, but they don't even know if it's right. They don't go by their gut feeling. So I recommend anybody, if you care about children and stuff, please talk to the children. And please pay attention to the signs and how they body language acts, or how they around other people. If they feel something's not right, please pay attention to your kids, because you never know what your kids are going through personally. And so, but yeah, so that's just my mission. My mission is to really just go all the way around the schools to teach people, and I want to create books and stuff. So my next mission is to create books to, we can send home to kids and stuff, just like, hey, basic red flags. And I'm trying to have my own documentary, so this is in the air for next year. And I'm trying to build up more coping skills and stuff to help more kids, because our kids is our future, And I get a little emotion and stuff because it's hit home. It's very hit home, and I'm looking forward to help many millions of children to get help. And those that actually went through the trauma, please get them help, because
wanted to say thank you to Ms. Peoples. I gotta give a little background. She does have a student that attends here in the 5th grade, so she's a parent also. And so when I encountered her, we met at an open house, and she told a little bit about her story, and she also invited me to like a guest speaking event because, like she said, she was a guest speaker at a university at that point. And so when it came up about care team presenting at Chat and Chew, one thing about me, I'm the social worker, right? So I'm thinking link people with resources, but also link people with opportunities, right? I realized I love doing that. So when I thought about this topic, the first person that came to mind was, of course, Ms. Peoples. Why not, right? She's a parent, she has a story to tell, and hey, who else knows how to cope if not this mom, right? And so I really appreciate you for doing this. And so I don't have to say anything else about coping skills. She said it all. And so Ms. Turner Mills asked me to introduce Ms. Kendrick. So it's your turn to come on up, Ms. Kendrick.
Hi, I am Katrina Kendrick. I am the math specialist here at Kimberly Elementary. Today we're going to talk about number sense. We talked about money, so let's talk about number sense. All right, number sense is a person's ability to understand, relate, and connect numbers. We build numbers we build number sense by sensitizing, recognizing items as sets, quantities having number talk, mental math, visualizing, composing, decomposing numbers, and connecting numbers to everyday life. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm stand a little closer to the board. All right, number sense is necessary for mathematical success. So let's dive into what is building number sense at home. So when you talk about sensitizing numbers, these are ways that you can help your child. You can use flashcards. For instance, we're going to watch a small video as well. You can go over, like, for instance, in the morning. Sometimes I stop my kids. I'm on the bus route. Okay, yeah. I'm on the bus route. I'm doing bus duty in the morning. I know, I can't hardly breathe, too, when I'm trying to talk. So I do this in the morning. I said, what number is this? You know, you can do this at home. What number is this? So you're going through the numbers. You're just going through them real quick. That's some things that you can do at home. What number is this? What number is this? What number is this? These small things help the kids to sensitize numbers, and also it helps them to recognize numbers. Now we get into the word. Sometimes they need to see the word connected to the number. So 0, 1, 2. So you get what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. So when they connect the numbers to the words, it helps them with reading, with standardized testing. It will help them to do better with standardized testing too. So we're going to watch a small video on sensitizing numbers. Okay.
Hold on. I'll try. Well, plan B.
Okay.
We're not gonna watch a movie.
All right. So they was talking about using the 10 frame. I'm just gonna give you all a couple of these just to look at. And they're talking about making 10s. Just gonna get like one table, just kind of do it together. So when you look at these cards, think of how would you make 10. So we're gonna do this activity. You can do it with your partner next to you. How would you make 10s? And these 10 frames would help them count how to make 10, what number they need to make 10, what number you need. So if I had one dot in this 10 frame, what number would I need? 9. So that's 1 plus 9, which is what? 10. So we're making 10. So you can go ahead and take one moment and do that with your partner. I'm going to walk around and tell me, what number is this? what number you need to add to that 10? That's right. Plus 9 is 10, thank you. All right. So, 3 plus 7 makes 10, thank you. Excellent job, this group. All right. Good job, thank you. Excellent. You see how simple that was? You can do that at home. So the next thing is, and it's very easy, everybody did that, and you can roll, I know you all have these. You have a deck of cards at home or something, right? So you can use those cards too to entertain them, to gain their interest in making 10s, making 20s, up to 100 maybe in 3rd grade. That's in 3rd grade. All right, so we're gonna talk about composing, composing numbers, and we're gonna talk about how that works with your kids. That's once again making 1 through 10, gradually increasing the quantity. You know how we went from 10, you go to 20, go to 30, and it depends on the grade level. So you know, depends on your grade level. So let's talk about 3rd grade. You may want to go up to 100 in 3rd grade, and then starting with 2nd grade as well. So we want to build fluency. We have those flashcards that I was just talking about, and this is an example how we decompose 10. You can use 2 plus 8, which makes 10, and then also need to know that 8 plus 2 also makes 10. The only thing it's doing is changing the position of the number. All right, so let's talk about connecting to real life, how you identify it. This is right here is just a clock, and you can talk about how you tell time. For instance, this is 10, this is 2. So you want them to get a sense of number sense, and also how you use it to add and subtract, multiplication and division, and how they relate to each other. All right, thank you. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Where you get those cards from?
That's a good question. I got it from the school.
I was just wondering too, because I ain't want to
But
get
I
mine.
actually,
Right, you could probably get those from School Specialty, if, you know, and you can buy those online. I'm sure you can probably get them on Amazon as well. I don't know that I've ever seen them like at like Walmart or Target. I think you probably have to buy them online.
oh, you can make them?
Or you can just make them.
With index cards?
Yeah, right, yeah, really, you can. Just get some index cards and just make them,
You can make
you know.
the babies make them.
Right, right.
That sounds
And especially
better.
because they use 10 frames in the classroom, they, you know, they'll already know how to make them,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah.
Now, maybe your little babies, you know, Couture's not gonna know how to make it. But, but, because I don't know that they're doing that necessarily there,
I think
but.
I will do that, cause you know what, every time I'm on this side of town, I see stuff like that, and then I'm like, I wanna go to Keys so bad, from when I was a little girl, but I remember Keys been gone for years. I just keep remembering like.
And Greenbrier?
Yeah, when I used to read Greenbrier.
And you can also make this right here, this is called the number line, where you get the totals right here, and then you do the, this is the whole, this is the part, and the part, which makes the whole.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kendrick, for jumping in for us today. Ms. Hill, my math coach, was gonna do this today, but she was out sick, so we called Ms. Kendrick this morning and said, Ms. Kendrick, hey, I need you, jump on in, so thank you very much. All right, this is me.
You're the end.
Oh, I'm the end, okay, all right. So, all right, let me just see what we're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right. So, of course, I just jumped in today too, because I never know, I honestly, just so y'all know me, those, you know me, but like, I generally just kind of come in and wing it. But we want to just kind of bring you back to something we talked about earlier today, which was communicating with your child's teacher. So Ms. Turner Mills talked about communicating with your child's teacher on a regular basis. Here are some different ways in which you can do that. So I don't know how many of you have access to the parent portal. Hopefully at this point, every parent has gone into the parent portal and been able to not only see their kids' grades, their kids' attendance, but there's also notices that come from the district in the parent portal. In there as well, you can also, you know, update contact information in the parent portal. Report cards are in the parent portal. Now we print out, this year we started printing back out and sending home the 9-week report cards, but at the progress report stage, at the 4.5 week, those will just be in the parent portal. You know, during the pandemic, we didn't send home anything we just, let parents go into the parent portal. What I found out was that there were a large number of my parents that actually weren't even going into the parent portal. So they went, 2 years without actually getting a report card or knowing how their child was doing. So it's important that you do this. Now, Ms. Turner-Mills can assist you with getting into the parent portal, but there's some, this information, I'm sure, was sent home at the 9-week report card time, right? We sent this home, so that way you can get in there. What else? You can also, right, so the other thing is, besides looking at just report card grades, assignments are in there. So as teachers, our teachers are required, and when I say required, it means that's what I'm telling them to do. It may not necessarily be what happened, and you gotta help me with that. But they're required to post grades every week. So grades should change in the parent portal every week, because there's supposed to be 1 grade per core subject every week. The specials classes, you may not see grades in there for them until the end of the 9-week, but there really shouldn't be any issue with how your kid is doing in Spanish, PE, art, or music. But as far as their core subjects of reading, ELA, science, social studies, and math, and health, there should be a grade that's there every week for them, some kind of a grade, whether it's a classroom, class participation grade, whether it's a homework grade, whether it's an assessment grade. As those grades change, then your child's score changes for that class. And so what you want to do is, as you see maybe missing assignments, or you see a child has failed an assignment, that's then your indicator to say, let me reach out to my child's teacher and say, hey, I noticed that Joseph failed the last test that we took in math. How can I help him, learn that material, because it's gonna come back. One thing we know about everything that we do in school, especially the elementary school, it all cycles. It's gonna come back again. What you did, if you didn't learn it this time, you're still gonna need to know it. The only subjects that isn't necessarily true for are science and social studies. Most of the time, the information that they learn in science and social studies is specific to that particular unit of study. But as it relates to math and ELA, those things, they cycle through. So those skills, they build upon one another. Attendance is important also. You want to make sure that your child's attendance is accurate. The one thing that many of our parents sometimes forget is that 7:45 start time for instruction means that your child's supposed to be in their seat in their classroom at 7:45. So once you hear my announcements in the morning, and especially once you hear the Reading Rainbow song, your child is already late, because that comes on at the time they're really supposed to be in the room. So what I say to kids, if you come in the building and you hear, I'm late, or you hear the Reading Rainbow song, you need to be hopping to it, because really you're already supposed to be in your room, in your seat. Otherwise, the teacher is marking you late, okay? So I always say aim for the 7:15 to 7:30 time to get your child to school if they're not riding the bus. If they're on the bus, if the bus is late, they won't be marked late. But typically our buses, right, 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 yeah, let's not even mess up. Right, so we're not even gonna talk about the buses, because I don't even wanna mess nothing up with that. Other than that, that is pretty much it with Parent Portal. What's on the next slide? So Class Dojo, hopefully every parent is connected to Class Dojo and communicating back and forth with your teachers. That's your teacher's primary way of communicating with you. Whether it be letting you know your kid's behavior in the classroom, how they've earned points for positive behavior, or how maybe they made a mistake and lost a point. But more importantly, they're communicating with you about upcoming events in the classroom. You can actually text message your teacher right through Class Dojo to be able to send a message to them right away. I always say, if it's about a transportation change, even if you send that message to Class Dojo, call the school office, because the teacher may not see that message on Class Dojo until it's too late. So you want to make sure that you call Ms. King or Ms. Turner-Mills. Will get that call. Sometimes Ms. Williams will get that call, and then they will make sure that they communicate with that message to the teacher as well. I guess she told me I was taking too long.
Go on into Securely, and then this will be next.
Okay, Securely. So there is a tool that we use called Securely. That is a tool for teachers to monitor what kids are doing on their devices. So a teacher has the ability to pull up every child's device on their computer screen to actually see what they're doing to make sure that they're not on some site that they're not supposed to be on. Now, most sites that they're not supposed to be on are blocked, but it could be an educational site, but they're just not on the right one, and that's really why the teacher has the ability to use that. So if I tell a kid to get on IXL and they're on ReWorks, I may want them, I specifically want you to get on IXL today, so therefore the teacher can see that and it will monitor. If a kid does get on try to attempt to get on an inappropriate site, it actually sends an alert to the teacher via email, so that way that teacher is notified. If that happens excessively, then that teacher then does an office referral, and that child will see Mrs. Reese and or myself. Typically it's Mrs. Reese, and then typically she would probably send it to a counselor, because again, at school, our job is to teach. And so at the elementary school especially, what we try to make sure that we're doing is teaching kids about positive behaviors, not just penalizing them for mistakes that they make, but actually helping them to understand why they should or shouldn't do a certain thing and what the consequences are to that. And our counselors and care team kind of help with that work.
I want to say one other thing on Securely. There's also an app for parents where you can monitor also what your babies are doing. So if they go to an inappropriate site, even at school or at home, you're still able to monitor that. Just download that. And that information is in our weekly newsletter. There's a link for you to download that.
Thank you, Ms. Mills. All right, so here's some upcoming events. Of course, next week is Election Day, as I said at the beginning of our session. Make sure you get out there and vote your conscience. And so because it's Election Day, school will be closed to students. It is a district-wide teacher workday, but the teachers are actually working off-site, so it will not, unfortunately, it won't be an opportunity for you to kind of have a parent conference with a teacher on that day. It would have been a phenomenal day for that to happen. But they actually have meetings off-site on that day. I'll be here. I think Denise will be here. But the teachers will be out at professional development that day up until about 1 o'clock. But that's happening on that day. On November 9th is our Cluster Family Night, Help for the Holidays, Budgeting for the Holidays. Where is this taking place at?
That's at Bunch. I'm sorry, I didn't put that up there, guys.
All right, that's taking place at Bunch. We try to do some things within the cluster, and we try to get everybody in the cluster to participate in those. So this is our Cluster Family Night, talking about budgeting for the holidays. So look, that's good. We got a whole theme of financial literacy this month, so that's good. November 14th is our Fall Picture Retake Day. So if your kid wasn't here, we took pictures about a month ago. Or you didn't like those pictures, because maybe you didn't realize it was picture day, or your kid went outside and fell in the mud before they took the picture. They'll be able to retake those pictures. Also, 4th and 5th grade, they have a meeting on November 16th, and our next Go Team meeting is on the 16th as well. I don't know if any of you have participated in virtually our Go Team meetings. They are live streamed on YouTube each time that we have them, but you can also go back and watch them, even after the meeting takes place. But it's an opportunity for you to kind of find out what's happening at a higher level within our school and district. Of course, we have a governance board. Speaking of which, I actually have 2 parent slots that just recently became vacant because the parents who signed up for it realized they weren't actually available during the time that we meet, and so they dropped out. So I have 2 spots for that. So I see a couple parents, in here. No pressure. But I need 2 of y'all.
The question was asked, what time do they meet?
So we meet from 5 to 6:30 on the 3rd Wednesday pretty much every month. There are, like in December, we won't meet, but then we'll meet January, February, March, and I think we skip April, and then we'll meet in May. And they're virtual. We do it via Zoom, so that way you don't have to come to the school to meet. You just got to have good internet access and a computer with a camera at your house. I think all of our leadership roles for Go Team are taken, but we may have an opening for secretary. It just depends on how that goes this next meeting. But definitely, if you're interested, let me know before we leave today. And because those parents dropped off, I actually just get to a point. Normally, the way Go Team works is it's an election process, and that you would actually, get out there and petition to be on it. We send out votes, and parents vote for it. But once parents make it, if they drop off, then I just get to select the full replacements. Okay. Other than that, Thanksgiving break is coming up, y'all. I hope that everybody's gonna get plenty of rest, eat plenty of food, love on your family, and know that that whole week we gone, and I ain't even gonna be here. I had to say it just like that. I ain't even gonna be here. Right. Okay. Right. Is that it? All right. So that's it with our formal presentation. Now this is Q&A. If you have any questions for me about anything related to Kimberly Elementary School, Atlanta Public Schools, if you have any lingering questions about any of our presentations, our presentation facilitators are still here. So this is that time. Sit right here and take it. Oh, I know. Always. Always. They always say once they put me in front of the room, they don't know what's gonna happen. So most of the time, my folk are like looking at me and like, okay, monitoring to make sure I don't go too far left. All right. Well, if that's it. Oh yes, ma'am.
Is there any? Do you still have more slots for after school?
Yes, we do. So I'm glad you asked that question because I actually just spoke to Miss Rogers, not yesterday, day before yesterday, to ask her. There were 5 people on the waiting list. I told her to contact those people. I think we got 60 kids in there, but we can actually go up because she has enough staff members to get more folks. So yes, we do. Do you know if you're on the waiting list or did you not even apply because they said it was full?
They said it was full,
You didn't
so
register?
I'm not even sure what to do, just go down there.
So what you're gonna do when we leave here, Denise, she's getting your name, so she'll make sure that she gets you the registration link, so you can go ahead and get registered. But yes, we do have slots.
Okay.
And you know, it's a $50 registration fee, but then tuition is free. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Oh, yeah, and they get supper.
Right, and they get supper, right, yep, and they get supper. They're actually doing some tutoring through, right now, they're gonna be using this program called MobiMax. I'm actually gonna talk to the instructor coach and see if they're gonna be able to use the same tools that we use during the day, so it's not a different platform. But right now, they have a different platform called MobiMax that they'll be, that they have twice a week, 30-minute intervention sessions with them. And they bring in a lot of other kind of activities, some structured activities. So it's different than when they were just sitting in the cafeteria for 3 hours, which is why I got rid of that program. Yeah, so they're only in the cafeteria now, like that last 30 minutes, besides when they go down there to eat first thing. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say if anybody was interested in a book, I'll have them here and I can provide my information, if you wanna contact me.
We have another program to update, to highlight, and I've said this before, and I mean it wholeheartedly.
That's all right. Somebody trying to steal my show. No, it's okay. I'm just playing. I'm sorry. I think I'm Bernie Mac, so you know. Right. Right. Yeah, that's what it is. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see. Are we meeting next month in December? Okay, right. We're talking about because it's a possibility we may be doing something else. So so there's a possibility we may not have a December meeting because we are in the process of planning. And I guess once I put it out there in the atmosphere, that means it may make it happen more likely to make it happen. We're trying to plan a family bingo night. And so if it happens, it'll probably happen on that Wednesday night, which means that I'm not gonna make Denise have something Wednesday night and Thursday morning. So we probably won't have a December principal chat and chew. We'll try to combine some opportunity to have some Q&A at the bingo night. So that's our plan, is to do that. So she may be reaching out to some of y'all for some assistance and getting some prizes and stuff. Right. I think we got $1 million there right here. Right. And I know Cascade United Methodist Church got some million there. So we need some prizes. All right, y'all. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
I want a book.
Yes.